Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're navigating the incredibly rich, yet sometimes complex world of English, you know firsthand that every single word carries weight. We truly understand the dedication it takes to learn a new language, to sculpt it into a tool for your own unique thoughts and expressions. And today, our aim is to make that journey a little clearer, a little more powerful, and, well, a whole lot more exciting for you.
It's absolutely true. The ultimate goal isn't just about speaking English correctly. It's about genuinely expressing yourself, understanding the subtle meanings that lie beneath the surface and articulating your thoughts with precision and confidence. That profound level of connection and comprehension is exactly what this deep dive aims to unlock.
Our mission today is ambitious. We're equipping you not just with essential vocabulary, but with the very strategies to acquire it, to conquer those tricky words, and to build a linguistic toolkit that feels truly robust and personal. Whether your sights are set on academic excellence, professional advancement, or simply the sheer joy of truly mastering English, this deep dive is crafted specifically for you. We're going to explore how words fundamentally work, how you can decipher their meanings even when they're unfamiliar, and crucially, how to wield them effectively in any situation.
Yeah, we're here to transform potential information overload into those undeniable aha moments, giving you insightful shortcuts to becoming truly well-informed. Expect surprising connections, practical advice, and memorable insights that stick with you. So let's embark on this journey to unlock your full English vocabulary potential.
Okay, we all instinctively know vocabulary is foundational, right? But beyond simply recognizing words, what are some of the less obvious, almost hidden superpowers a truly rich vocabulary grants us? Especially in demanding contexts like, say, dissecting a complex article or contributing meaningfully in a fast-paced professional meeting. It feels like it enhances everything, but articulating why can be, well, elusive.
That's a brilliant framing, actually, because it moves us beyond just definition, beyond the obvious comprehension benefits. A robust vocabulary actually enhances your cognitive flexibility. When you encounter an unfamiliar concept, knowing a wider range of words allows your brain to quickly draw parallels, make inferences, even anticipate meaning, rather than just getting stuck.
Ah, okay, so it's like having more tools.
Exactly, like having more specialized tools in your mental toolkit, it enables more agile and nuanced thought. In a meeting, this means you're not just following the general gist. You're picking up on the subtle implications, the unspoken hesitations, or the precise intent behind a speaker's word choice.
Right, so you can read between the lines much better.
Precisely. It dramatically sharpens your critical listening and allows you to formulate responses that are not just accurate, but also strategically impactful. You can persuade, clarify, or even subtly influence in ways that are simply not possible with a limited word bank.
I can see the logic there. It's about operating at a higher level of thought and interaction.
Right.
Now, many of us, when we start learning a new language, default to rote memorization, flashcards, lists. It feels natural, right?
Yeah.
But it's often inefficient. You've often argued for a more active, dynamic approach. What's one common misconception about active vocabulary acquisition that holds people back?
That's an excellent question, and it is a common pitfall. The biggest misconception is that active means simply using the word once, like just dropping it into a sentence. But truly active vocabulary means you can recall and deploy word effortlessly and appropriately in varied contexts.
Effortlessly. That's the key.
Yes. Mechanical memorization, unfortunately, often only leads to passive recognition. You might recognize a word when you see it, maybe understand it in context.
But you wouldn't necessarily think to use it yourself.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to use it naturally and correctly in your speaking or writing. The real challenge is making these words truly our own, integrating them deeply into our linguistic toolkit. One highly effective approach is consistent personal record keeping.
Okay, like a vocabulary notebook.
Yeah, but think of it as more than just a list. It's your personalized learning journal. You could use a physical notebook, actually writing things down engages different parts of your memory, or digital flashcards, which are incredibly flexible for on-the-go learning. There are also many dedicated apps designed specifically for vocabulary building that can make this process more interactive and track your progress. The key is that this record is yours, tailored to the words you encounter and find useful. What stands out to you, for example, about why personally curating your word list is so important?
Well, for me, it makes the learning incredibly relevant. It sticks better. If I encountered a word in an article I was actually interested in, or heard it in a conversation that mattered to me, then adding it to my list makes it sticky. It's not just a random word. It comes with a memory and a context.
Precisely. And that leads directly to the next critical step: regular review.
Right. You can't just write it down and forget it.
Absolutely not. Simply writing a word down once isn't enough. You need to revisit these words on a consistent, spaced basis. This spaced repetition helps move them from your passive understanding to your active usage. It solidifies them in your long-term memory. It's like exercising a muscle, really.
The more consistently you work it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. Making those new words part of your natural conversation and writing. Another transformative strategy is extensive immersive reading.
Getting lost in a good book.
Yes, but not just books. Don't limit yourself to textbooks. Dive into books that genuinely interest you. Daily newspapers to keep up with current events. Diverse magazines covering different hobbies and fields, and web-based articles on topics you care about. This exposes you to words in natural contexts, showing you not just their definitions, but how they're used in sentences, how they collocate with other words' meaning, which words naturally go together.
Ah, collocations. That's huge for sounding natural.
It really is, and reading exposes you across different topics and writing styles. This organic exposure helps you absorb vocabulary in a way that feels natural and effective, and provides those crucial aha moments of understanding how language truly functions.
That's powerful advice, especially the immersive reading. It turns learning into an enjoyable habit, hopefully. Now, shifting gears slightly to resources. Many learners, myself included when I was starting out with a new language, initially grab a bilingual dictionary. Feels like the quickest solution, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. That instant translation feels helpful.
But there's a particular type of dictionary that can actually accelerate your learning, isn't there? Something that pushes you beyond just a direct translation.
Absolutely. The question then becomes, how can you get the absolute most out of a dictionary? While bilingual dictionaries offer a quick fix, they often don't provide the depth of understanding needed for advanced proficiency. To truly develop your vocabulary more effectively, you should transition to using a good monolingual English dictionary.
So English definitions for English words.
Exactly. This kind of dictionary does much more than just give you a single definition. It should clearly explain what the words mean using simpler English, which is vital for encouraging you to think in English rather than constantly translating back.
That's a key shift, thinking in the target language.
It is. And it'll show you how words are pronounced essential for speaking confidently. It provides various forms where relevant, like how an adjective becomes a noun or a verb, different tenses, helps you see the word's family. Crucially, it tells you which words or phrases they typically collocate with those words that naturally go together.
Making you sound less awkward.
Definitely more natural and fluent, avoiding awkward phrasing. And finally, a good monolingual dictionary will give sample sentences showing how the words are used in real-world contexts, illustrating their application in practical scenarios. An excellent example, highly recommended, is the Macmillan English Dictionary for Advanced Learners. They also have a free online version, which is great.
Oh, that's useful. MacmillanDictionary.com.
That's the one. Using a tool like that encourages a deeper engagement with the language, building genuine comprehension rather than just surface-level translation.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for anyone who loves solving puzzles.
Yeah.
Imagine you're deep into a challenging article, maybe something you're passionate about, and bam, you hit a new word. Instead of immediately interrupting yourself to look it up, there's a powerful skill you can cultivate to figure it out, right? Almost like being a language detective on the spot. How do we develop that internal compass for meaning?
Exactly. Being a language detective. What's truly fascinating here is the power of deducing meaning from context. This is an absolutely invaluable skill. It helps maintain your reading flow and build understanding organically, rather than constantly interrupting yourself to look up every single new word, which can be, frankly, quite tedious.
And breaks your concentration, too.
Totally. So when you encounter an unfamiliar word in a passage, you can often work out what it means, or at least get a very good idea by looking at the context. This involves a few mental steps. First, consider the overall topic of the passage, what's the general subject. Then, zoom in on the meaning of the sentence itself where the word appears. And finally, look closely at the information that comes immediately before and after the unfamiliar word. These surrounding words and sentences often provide crucial clues, acting as signposts to meaning.
Okay, so context is king.
Pretty much. For instance, if you're reading an author's book on, say, owls and bats, and encounter words like nocturnal, sights coherently, or feet, your internal detective skills can kick in. You'd likely infer nocturnal relates to activity at night because, well, owls and bats are known for that.
It makes sense.
If the author cites other research, it strongly suggests they are referring to or quoting it to support their own work. Coherently would almost certainly describe writing that is clear and logical, especially if the passage praises the author.
Right, like they wrote coherently.
Exactly. And feat would, in that context, refer to an impressive achievement, considering the challenge of writing a complex book. This skill is critical for any learner aiming for advanced comprehension. It empowers you to navigate unfamiliar vocabulary with confidence and efficiency.
That's a fantastic way to approach it. It genuinely is like solving a puzzle with the clues right there on the page. But beyond the surrounding text, sometimes the word itself holds its own secrets, offering internal clues to its meaning. It's like words are built with little components that give away their secrets if you know how to read them. What exactly are these internal clues?
Yes, this helps answer how words build on each other. Often we can unlock a word's meaning by breaking it down into its components, usually a base word we already know, often with the addition of prefixes or suffixes.
Like building blocks.
Precisely. Linguistic building blocks, each carrying a piece of the meaning. Think of common examples. Healthcare is simply health combined with care, creating a compound meaning. Deforestation clearly breaks down into de meaning removal, forest, and aveleration, indicating a process or state. Tells us it's the removal of forests.
Okay, D like decrease.
Sort of, yeah, removal or reversal. And facial is derived from face with the addition of the LAL suffix, indicating relating to the face. These examples show how common components combine to create new meanings, making many seemingly new words decipherable. Let's delve into a few more examples from your sources to illustrate this. Consider infancy. We know infant, right?
Yeah, baby.
So infancy is the state of being an infant or the early stage of development. For evaluation, we recognize value. And with the suffix, it means the act of assessing value or performance.
Evaluating something.
Exactly. When we hear prolong, the pros suggests forward or for, and long means duration, so it means to make something last longer. Windswept is a clear combination of wind and swept, describing a place exposed to strong winds. Threefold combines threeandfold, meaning 3 times the amount or number. A distinguished scholar is one who stands out or is notable. A recipient is someone who receives.
Receiving something.
Right. A centerpiece is the most important piece in the center. A multitude implies many or multiple. Numeracy relates to numbers. Lifespan is the span of a life. Monetary clearly relates to money. And grandeur evokes a sense of grand impressiveness.
Wow, okay, breaking them down makes a huge difference.
It does. We can see this pattern repeated with other examples too. Epicenter uses center to denote the focal point, typically of an earthquake. Outpatients are patients treated outside of an inpatient hospital stay. To validate something is to make it valid or true. Widespread means spread wide. Seafarers are people who fare or travel the sea. Spatial directly relates to space. A monorail runs on a mono-single rail. Auditory pertains to audio or hearing. An industrious person is hardworking, like having an industry. And longevity implies long life. Understanding these internal clues means you don't have to learn every single word as an isolated entity.
It's like learning a system, not just random facts.
Exactly. It's like learning the chemical symbols of elements rather than memorizing every compound. Much more efficient.
That's a revelation. It
Right.
truly is like having a secret code. And when you break it down, it makes so many intimidating words accessible. Let's really dive into how prefixes specifically can transform word meanings. It's like they're little linguistic modifiers that completely shift the entire context. Can you give us some vivid examples of their transformational power?
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering common prefixes is an incredibly powerful tool for rapidly expanding your vocabulary and understanding unfamiliar terms across diverse fields. They are fixed units of meaning that attach to the beginning of a word. Let's go through some key ones and explore their implications, not just their definitions. Take tele, which means distant. We see it in teleconferences, people connecting for meetings across distances.
Like we're doing now almost.
Exactly. And telecommunications, the communication of information over a distance. It vividly illustrates how technology allows us to bridge geographical gaps.
I always think of telescope with that one, seeing things from afar. What about some of the ones that describe quantity or number? Bi and mono come to mind.
Excellent connection. And you're right, bi means two or twice. Now, this one has a subtle but important distinction in some words, which can be a real trap. Biannual means twice a year. Biannual means once every 2 years.
Whoa, okay, that ease makes a big difference.
It really does. Missing that E changes the frequency dramatically. We also see in bilingual for speaking 2 languages. Then there's mono, meaning single. So monolingual means speaking only one language. And a monotone voice has a single, unchanging pitch, often perceived as dull because of its lack of variation.
Got it. Single track.
Right. Then co means together, simple and direct. Co-workers are people who work together, and co-educational schools educate boys and girls together. The prefix itself promotes a sense of shared action or participation.
Okay. And size. Micro.
Yep, micro means small. Think of microorganisms, tiny living things. Or microwaves, small electromagnetic waves. On the other end of the spectrum, though not in your list, we have macro for large, showing that these prefixes often come in pairs with opposing meanings.
That contrast is super helpful. What about prefixes that suggest direction or position, like sub or inter? I often find those can have a few layers of meaning depending on the root word.
You're right, the nuances are fascinating. Sub means below or under. If something is substandard, it's below the expected standard. Your subconscious mind operates below your conscious awareness. It almost always implies a lower position, either physically or in terms of quality. Then circum means around. You circumnavigate the world by traveling around it.
Like Magellan.
Exactly. And inter means between or among. The International Space Station is a collaboration between nations. An interrelationship describes a relationship between different things.
Okay. And quantity again. Uni, under, over.
Right. Uni means one, as in unisex clothing, suitable for all, or unilateral decisions, made by only one party. Under implies too little. An underachiever achieves below their potential. To underestimate is to judge something as too small. Conversely, over means too much. An overpopulated city has too many people. If you are overweight, you weigh too much. These pairings of prefixes with opposite meanings like under and over are excellent for expanding your understanding quickly.
Very logical. And the last few. Semi, auto, post.
Semi means half or partially. A semifinal is halfway to the final. Semi-detached houses are joined to another house on one side. Auto means self or automatic. Autopilot allows an aircraft to fly itself automatically. An autobiography is a self-written biography. And post means after. Postgraduate studies happen after a first degree. Post-war refers to the period after a war. These prefixes offer a systematic way to predict and understand the meanings of hundreds, even thousands of new words.
Give you a real advantage.
Absolutely. They're not just additions, they're transformers of meaning.
English, it seems, can be a real minefield of words that look or sound similar but carry completely different meanings. I've certainly stumbled over these countless times in other languages, thinking I knew a word only to be completely off the mark. It can lead to some truly awkward moments. It's one of the biggest challenges for learners, isn't it?
It certainly is. The challenge lies in what we call the illusion of familiarity. Your brain recognizes a pattern or words similar to one in your native language and makes an automatic, often incorrect assumption.
The brain taking shortcuts.
Exactly. Which is why we categorize confusing words in a few ways. Those with similar meanings but different usage, words related to the same topic but with distinct meanings, or words that simply look similar. Then there are those infamous false friends, words that resemble words in your native language but have entirely different meanings in English.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
They feel so familiar but lead you astray.
They really do. Understanding these distinctions is crucial for accuracy and for truly conveying what you intend and, as you mentioned, avoiding those embarrassing missteps.
Absolutely, and the embarrassment is real. What I find particularly tricky are those words that seem so similar yet trip up even seasoned learners. Could you highlight a couple of your absolute top false friends or confusing pairs that listeners should truly, engrave in their minds?
Excellent point. Let's pinpoint a few notorious ones. The classic pairing of affect and effect immediately comes to mind.
Oh yeah, affect, effect.
Right. One's almost always a verb, affect, the other a noun, effect. But their similar sounds and linked meanings make them a minefield. The weather will affect our travel plans, but the new law will have a positive effect. Always tricky. What about you? Any personal nemesis words you've battled with?
Oh, definitely. I still catch myself hesitating with lay versus lie, especially the past tenses. They really throw me. And abroad versus aboard always makes me pause, even though the meanings are so distinct. What's a good mental trick for those two?
The lay dilemma is a rite of passage for English learners. It trips up native speakers too, honestly. For lay, think of place, it always takes an object. You lay something down. For lie, think of recline, no object needed. You lie down yourself. The past tense of lie is lay. For example, I lay down yesterday, which is where the real confusion often sets in as it matches the present tense of lay.
Exactly, that's the trap.
It is. For abroad on a board, I often visualize abroad as a broad land, thinking of distance in other countries, while aboard immediately conjures being on board a vessel, a ship, plane, train.
Abroad land. On board. Okay, I like that. Simple visualizations can make a huge difference.
They really can. Speaking of vessels, another pair that confuses people are canal versus channel. A canal is an artificial waterway built for transportation or irrigation. Think Panama Canal. A channel can be a natural, narrow stretch of water, like the English Channel, or, of course, a TV station.
Right. Man-made versus natural, usually.
That distinction is key there. Another common source of error is the verb-noun distinction, like advise verb versus advice noun. You advise someone, but you give advice. Always check the part of speech.
Advise with an S, advice with a C.
In British English, yes. And similarly, practice verb with S versus practice noun with C causes issues in British English, though American English simplifies this by using practice for both, which is arguably easier.
Oh, 1 point for American English there.
Then there are pairs that imply a different magnitude or nuance. For instance, appreciable versus appreciative. An appreciable difference is one that is noticeable or significant, implying a measurable quantity. An appreciative audience, on the other hand, shows gratitude or thanks, expressing an emotion.
Ah, okay. Quantity versus quality of feeling.
Exactly. One is about how much, the other about how they feel.
I can see how focusing on those key distinctions and mental tricks would save a lot of grief. Are there any examples where the difference feels particularly subtle, almost philosophical, like priceless versus worthless? They sound like opposites, but one implies extreme value and the other no value.
That's a brilliant observation, because they are indeed often thought of as opposites. But priceless actually means so valuable it cannot be priced, like a family heirloom or a unique piece of art. Worthless means it has no value at all, completely valueless. The difference is not just magnitude, but the nature of value. One is beyond price, the other is beneath it.
Fascinating distinction.
It is. Let's quickly touch on a few more pairs that often cause, a mix-up. Avoid versus prevent. You avoid a dangerous area by staying away. You prevent a disaster by taking action to stop it. Avoidance versus intervention. Beside versus besides. Beside means next to. Besides means in addition to. Location versus addition.
Got it. One of those makes all the difference.
It does. Briefly versus shortly. Speak briefly for short time. Something happens shortly, soon. Duration versus future time. Conscientious versus conscious. A conscientious worker is diligent, careful. Conscious means aware. Diligence versus awareness.
Right, often confused.
Very. Considerable versus considerate. A considerable amount is significant, large. A considerate person is thoughtful of others. Quantity versus kindness. Continual versus continuous. Continual problems happen repeatedly but with breaks. Continuous noise happens without any interruption. Intermittent versus nonstop.
That's a subtle one.
It is. Control versus inspect. You control a class. Manage. Officers inspect kitchens. Examine carefully. Management versus examination. Criticism versus objection. Criticism is negative judgment. An objection is a specific reason for disagreement. General negativity versus specific opposition. Damage, harm, injury. Usually damage to things, buildings, harm to abstract things or living things generally, aquatic life, injury to a person or animal's body.
Okay, context matters there.
Always.
Yeah.
During 2 weeks, within that period, for 2 weeks, duration, while someone was speaking, simultaneous action, usually with clause. However, introduces a contrast. Moreover adds more information. Contrast versus addition.
Linking words, crucial.
Essential. Injured versus wounded. Injured is general workers. Wounded usually refers to injuries from combat, soldiers, job versus work. Job is a specific paid position. Work is general effort or activity, can be unpaid. Specific role versus general effort. Look at versus watch. Look at a static thing, problem, picture. Watch a developing situation or something moving. TV, game. Static versus dynamic viewing. Loose versus loose. Loose soil, not tight adjective. Lose a game, fail to win, verb. Double O versus single O, make versus cause. Noise makes it hard to hear, creates a state. Hurricanes cause damage, initiates an event result. State versus event initiation, nature versus countryside, nature lovers, general natural world. Living in the countryside, rural area, abstract concept versus physical place, percent versus percentage, 10%, specific number, a small percentage of land, general proportion, noun. Specific figure versus general concept, permission versus permit. Received permission, noun uncountable. Cannot permit photography, verb. Noun versus verb. Personal versus personnel. Personal view relating to one person. Change of personnel, staff, plural noun. Individual versus
Personnel always trips people up.
common one. Possibility versus chance. Possibility of rain, potential for something to happen. Chance to win, opportunity. Potential versus opportunity. Priceless versus worthless, we covered this. Priceless, extremely valuable. Worthless, no value. Beyond value versus no value. Principle versus principle. University principle, head person, noun, adject. Eat meat on principle. Rule, belief, noun. Country's principal products, main, adjective. Person, main versus...
Feeling matters there too. Pal versus pill.
Good mnemonic. Problem versus trouble. Little problem I'm having. Specific difficulty countable. Generally causing trouble. General difficulty often uncountable. Specific versus general difficulty. Process versus procession. Visa application process. Series of actions. Carnival procession. Line of people vehicles moving forward. Procedure versus parade. Raise versus rise. Airlines raise fares. Transitive takes an object. Prices rise. Intransitive no object. Act upon versus happen naturally.
Lily again, sort of.
Similar pattern, yes. Transitive, intransitive. Remember versus remind. I remember my first day. Recall yourself. Teachers remind students, make someone else remember. Recall versus prompt recall. Respectable versus respectful. Respectable neighborhood, deserving respect. Listened in respectful silence, showing respect. Deserving versus showing. Tolerant versus tolerable. Show greater tolerance. Willingness to accept, adjective, noun. Noise was tolerable. Bearable, adjective. Accepting versus bearable. And finally, treat versus cure. Treat minor health problems. Manage symptoms. Cure the illness. Eliminate completely. Manage versus eliminate. Phew, that list really highlights the importance of precise word choice.
It really does. That's a lot to keep track of.
It is. So my advice for you is to focus on understanding the context and typical collocations for each word. Don't just learn the definition in isolation. Learn how the word functions in a sentence and with which other words it naturally pairs. This deepens your understanding and will save you from many potential communication pitfalls, greatly enhancing your accuracy and naturalness.
Life is full of ups and downs, ebbs and flows, both literally and figuratively. We see it everywhere. Economic data, scientific measurements, personal transformations, shifts in mood. How do we articulate these movements with such precision that our descriptions are vivid, clear, and truly impactful? Not just saying it changed.
Exactly. This area is particularly useful for describing data and transformations, especially in academic or professional contexts, or even just telling a compelling story. We use distinct vocabulary for changes, often categorized into different types. When describing trends, for upward movements, you have verbs like increase, rise, or go up. For downward trends, we use decline, decrease, drop, fall, or go down. Pretty straightforward.
Up or down. Basic directions.
Right. When things aren't consistent but rather move up and down, we say they fluctuate. For stability, we can say something remain constant or remain steady. High points, the peaks, are captured with phrases like peak at or reach a peak of. For example, student numbers increased gradually between April and June, then rose sharply in July.
See, gradually, sharply. Those are key.
Exactly. To add crucial detail to the magnitude and pace of change, we use adverbs. Words like dramatically, sharply, gradually, slightly, or steadily paint a much clearer picture. An upward trend or downward trend then serves as a concise summary of the overall direction. So, saying the company's profits increased dramatically gives a far more specific and impactful picture than just profits went up.
Tells you how it went up.
Precisely. The adverb tells you how the change occurred. Beyond simple increases or decreases, there's a richer set of verbs of transformation to describe more complex shifts and modifications. Words like alter, to change partly, switch, change from one thing to another, or adjust, make small changes to fit.
Like adjusting your seat.
Exactly. Fade implies a gradual loss of intensity or color. Vary describes how things differ across situations. Reduce and cut mean to make something smaller. Deteriorate means to become worse.
Which can also be worsen or get worse.
Right, you are. Conversely, improve describes getting better. Swell means to increase in size or amount. Exchange implies giving one thing and receiving another. To renovate is to repair and improve, especially a building. Replace means to take the place of something. Adapt suggests modifying to suit new conditions. For instance, courses can be adapted to suit individual students.
Flexible.
Yeah. Disappear, like symptoms disappear, or transform, email transformed communication, describe fundamental shifts. Promote suggests moving to a higher position, while relax can mean making rules less strict. All these verbs allow us to describe the dynamic world with much greater nuance and accuracy.
That's a phenomenal palette of verbs for depicting movement. Sometimes, though, we need to paint a picture with words, describing what things look like, their dimensions, how much of something there is. It's not just about what changes, but what is there in all its physical glory with accuracy.
Exactly. This brings us to how you choose the most precise word to visually describe something. Starting with shapes, basic geometric forms are essential. Crescent, like the moon, circle, cone, cube, cylinder, oval, pyramid, rectangle, sphere, a ball, spiral, square, and triangle.
Geometry 101.
Pretty much. And it's also important to know their adjective forms, like circular or spherical, which are frequently used. Beyond simple shapes, we use descriptive adjectives for features that convey textures and forms. For instance, a meandering river suggests a calm, winding path evokes a sense of peace. A road might be described as winding and bumpy with deep potholes to convey its roughness.
Instantly paints a picture of an uncomfortable journey.
Doesn't it? A hollow log gives a sense of emptiness within, maybe a place for animals. And for sturdy, solid objects, you might use adjectives like thick, solid, and heavy with straight edges. These words add essential sensory detail to your descriptions, making them much more vivid for the listener or reader.
Bringing it to life.
Exactly. To describe magnitude, size, quantity, dimension, precise vocabulary is key. For small amounts, you might talk about a minute amount of dust. Tiny. For large quantities or sizes, you have a wealth of options. A giant building, a colossal statue.
Colossal. Love that word.
It's a great one. Plenty of food, loads of times, which is informal but common. A vast crowd, tons of work, again, informal. A great deal of time. A narrow alleyway immediately gives a sense of confined space. The point is to choose the word that best fits the scale of what you are describing. For example, if you're discussing a major, ambitious project, you would embark on a colossal undertaking, not merely a big one.
The precision enhances the impact.
It ensures the reader truly grasps the scale you intend.
That attention to detail truly brings language to life. Okay, finally in this section, whether you're giving directions to a friend in a new city or describing a complex map in a presentation, clear language for a location and direction is non-negotiable. It's all about guiding someone exactly where they need to go without ambiguity.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how precise prepositions and phrases are in conveying exact positions. No room for misinterpretation. To effectively navigate spaces, you need to master this vocabulary. Think about phrases like directly opposite, indicating a clear position across from something. To the west of, or on the south side of, provide cardinal directions. To the east of, on the left-hand side of, or just on the left side of.
Left and right, north and south, basic stuff, but crucial.
Absolutely. When something is in the very center, you say in the middle of. For points along a path, use halfway along or halfway up. Geometrically, things can be parallel to each other or at right angles to, which also means perpendicular to.
Perpendicular. Good word.
It is. Diagonally opposite specifies a corner-to-corner relationship. If something is encompassed, it's surrounded by. For general placement on a street, simply use on High Street, and for a specific intersection, on the corner of. Then, when giving instructions, you'd pair these with clear directional verbs. You go to the end of a road, then turn right or turn left. You take the first or second road and go along it or go past a landmark.
Like giving directions on the phone.
Precisely. For example, imagine giving directions. Go to the end of High Street, turn right, and take the first road on your left. The supermarket is the second building on your left. These instructions become perfectly clear and easy to follow with the precise vocabulary.
Ensuring you can guide anyone confidently through any space, avoiding confusion.
Exactly that.
Okay, so beyond just describing facts and things, a huge part of communicating is sharing what you think and feel. It's about more than just reporting. It's about conveying your stance with precision and impact. How do we do that effectively, without ambiguity, capturing the full depth of our perspective?
That's really the heart of authentic communication, isn't it? The key is to access vocabulary that captures the depth and the nuance of your opinion, attitude, or belief. Words like tolerant, or tolerance for the noun, describe acceptance of different views. Someone might be obsessed or have an obsession with a particular idea, indicating an intense, perhaps unhealthy focus.
Obsessed. Strong word.
It is. Reckoning, as in I reckon that, is a more informal way of stating an opinion or guess, perhaps common in everyday conversation. To be suspicious, or to suspect something, implies a feeling of doubt or mistrust. Bigoted, or bigotry, describes intolerance towards those different from oneself, a very negative term. Doubtful, or doubt, expresses uncertainty. And fanatical, or fanaticism, indicates extreme enthusiasm or devotion, often to a point of being unreasonable.
Like a sports fanatic, maybe.
Could be, yeah. Or political fanaticism. It's crucial to know the correct grammatical form for each context, noun, adjective, verb, to ensure your message is both precise and grammatically sound. For instance, you might strongly suspect a proposal will be rejected or demonstrate tolerance towards a differing viewpoints in a discussion, showing your open-mindedness.
Right. Choosing the right word for the right level of feeling. Now, life is absolutely full of if-then scenarios, possibilities, and dependencies that shape our decisions. Whether you're making plans, setting rules, or analyzing consequences, clearly laying out conditions is essential to avoid any misinterpretations. How do we do that with precision, conveying exactly the circumstances under which something will or won't happen?
What's fascinating here is the sheer variety of ways we can express conditions, each carrying its own specific nuance. Allows you to be incredibly precise. Key phrases for conditions include providing that and provided that, and you can often omit that.
Like, you can come, provided you're on time.
Exactly. Both mean on the condition that. It sets a clear prerequisite for the action. Another common one is unless, which means if you don't. So, you can't go to university unless you get good exam grades, states a necessary condition. Without those grades, university is out.
Sets a clear boundary.
It does. A more formal phrase is on condition that, which explicitly states the terms. For example, the company offered the job on condition that he relocated. Very formal. As long as also sets a condition or duration, you can stay as long as you help with the chores.
Conditional hospitality.
Indeed. For expressing degree or quantity in conditions, we used no matter how, like no matter how much you tell them it's unhealthy, or however many for quantity, however many books you read about it. And wherever specifies a conditional location, crime is a problem wherever you live. These phrases allow you to set clear parameters for actions or situations, ensuring your message is understood exactly as intended. No ambiguity.
Very useful. Okay, connecting ideas. In any discussion, report, or explanation, we constantly need to show how one thing logically leads to another, or why something happened. Forging those clear causal links is vital for presenting a coherent, persuasive message. How do we do that effectively, ensuring our audience understands not just what happened, but why it matters?
Right. This helps us understand not just what happened, but the implications of those events, the cause and effect. To express reason, you use phrases that clearly indicate causation. These include due to, on account of, and owing to all basically mean because of, and they're typically followed by a noun or noun phrase. He failed his exam due to his lack of revision. Clearly pinpoints the cause.
Lack of revision, reason.
Exactly. We also have prompted by to show something initiated an action. A persistent cough prompted him to seek medical help, indicates the trigger, with the aim of, and in order to, or so as not to for negative aims, express purpose or intention. Like, she started shouting with the aim of starting a riot, clarifies her intention. More formally, you can use on the grounds that, or for the simple reason that, or simply the main reason for, to introduce a justification.
Okay, so those are the why words. What about the so what words? The results.
Good way to put it. For results, you connect the cause to its outcome. Phrases like, as a result of, traffic accidents are decreasing as a result of new laws, directly links policy to outcome. Consequently, therefore, and thus all introduce the outcome of a previous statement, he studied diligently, consequently, he passes exams. Shows a direct consequence.
Logical flow.
Yes. You also have effect of, noun. What are the effects of a large earthquake? An effect, verb. Stress can affect people in different ways. For instance, the army attacked without considering the consequences of its action clearly links the action to its potential outcomes. Highlights of failure and foresight. Mastering this vocabulary allows you to build robust logical bridges between ideas, making your explanations both coherent and compelling.
Right. Now, structuring arguments, whether you're writing an academic essay, engaging in a formal debate, or just trying to persuade someone, structuring a compelling argument is absolutely essential. It's about organizing your thoughts clearly and persuasively. How do we effectively guide our audience through our reasoning, especially when the ideas are complex?
The ability to structure a powerful argument is a cornerstone of advanced communication. It really is. The objective is to guide your audience through your reasoning in a way that is both logical and compelling. Clear, argumentative structures and linking phrases are vital for this. To begin, when you're structuring your points, use sequential markers. First of all, or firstly, to introduce your initial argument, then secondly, to move to the next point, and conclude with, finally, when presenting your last main argument.
Simple but effective. Keeps everyone on track.
Exactly. It gives your argument a very clear, easy-to-follow flow. When introducing specific arguments, you can use phrases that highlight their importance, such as the most important reason or the main reason. This signals to your audience what you consider to be central to your case, draws their attention.
highlighting the key takeaways.
Precisely. For expressing your personal view, a range of phrases can be used. As far as I'm concerned, or for me are common, in my opinion is straightforward. If you're referring to a general sentiment, you can use many consider, like, many consider a good salary to be one of life's most important goals.
Attributing the view.
Yes. To add more information or to present contrasting ideas, you need appropriate linking phrases, as well as, or, in addition, to allow you to expand on a point. Moreover, or furthermore, are more formal ways to add further details or reinforce an idea. The plan was excellent. Moreover, it was clear it would attract interad, adds weight.
And for contrasting ideas. The classic on the one hand.
That's the one. To introduce contrasting viewpoints, use although or while. Nevertheless shows a concession despite something the other point still holds, and the balanced structure of on the one hand followed by on the other hand, great for presenting two sides.
Essential for balanced arguments.
Absolutely. Finally, for clarifying and summarizing your points, useful phrases include, I mean, or in other words, to rephrase for clarity. Ensures your message is understood. To effectively wrap up your arguments, use in conclusion, to summarize, to sum up, or in short brief. A highly effective approach for you is to practice presenting balanced arguments, even if you have a strong opinion. The strategic placement of your own firm opinion towards the end often makes it more persuasive.
Because you've shown you understand the other side first.
Exactly. You've demonstrated an understanding of all sides before making your definitive statement. This comprehensive approach ensures your arguments are not only well-structured, but also highly impactful.
English isn't just one monolithic language, is it? It's more like a vibrant collection of specialized vocabularies that shift and adapt depending on the context. To truly be well-informed and able to engage in diverse discussions, you kind of need to dip your toes into these different fields. Let's explore some crucial ones, understanding that each domain acts like its own linguistic ecosystem.
Exactly. And we connect this to the bigger picture. Possessing topic-specific vocabulary allows you to engage with complex subjects with far greater depth and authority. It's about being precise and confident, whether you're discussing global environmental issues, cutting-edge scientific innovations, or intricate economic trends. This specialized knowledge is what allows you to truly understand and contribute meaningfully to conversations in different domains.
Makes you a more versatile and credible communicator.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start with the big one, environmental issues. They're not only pressing, but also central to global discourse, dominating headlines and policy debates. Climate change, conservation. Understanding the terminology is paramount for anyone wanting to follow and participate. What are some key terms we need?
That's a vital starting point. And the question is, how do we talk about the challenges facing our planet and the efforts to address them with the precision they demand? The vocabulary here is constantly evolving too, reflecting the urgency. When discussing the problems, critical terms include acid rain made acidic by pollution, deforestation, the removal of trees, often large-scale, leading to habitat loss and climate impact.
A huge issue.
Massive. An ecosystem, a community of living organisms interacting with their physical environment. A delicate balance. Emissions gases released into the atmosphere, often from factories or vehicles, contributing to pollution. Global warming, the long-term heating of Earth's climate system. Pollution, contamination of the environment with harmful substances. And erosion, the gradual wearing away of land or soil by wind or water. For example, understanding how emissions from fossil fuels contribute to global warming is absolutely fundamental.
Right, connects the dots. What about solutions or concepts?
Okay, turning to solutions and concepts, we discuss biodegradable packaging materials designed to decompose naturally, reducing waste. Genetically modified, often just GM foods, DNA altered in labs, raises debates about safety and ethics.
GM foods, always controversial.
Often. A green belt is protected land around cities, preventing urban sprawl. Greenhouse gases those that trap heat, causing the greenhouse effect, amplified by human activity. Organic food cultivated naturally without chemical fertilizers or pesticides.
Pesticides being the chemicals to kill pests.
Right. We frequently refer to rainforests for their biodiversity, the need to recycle things, and to develop renewable energy sources like solar or wind, sources that are naturally replenished, offering a sustainable alternative.
And who are the main actors?
Key actors are often environmentalists, individuals or groups actively concerned with protecting the environment. So, for example, understanding how environmentalists advocate for biodegradable packaging is fundamental to following the discourse around sustainable practices. This vocabulary allows for a nuanced discussion of complex planetary challenges and potential remedies.
Okay, moving to science and technology. This world is constantly evolving at a dizzying pace, bringing new concepts and, with them, an ever-expanding vocabulary. To stay informed about innovation and progress, what's essential to grasp here?
What's fascinating here is not just how quickly this vocabulary grows, but how it reflects human ingenuity and our expanding understanding of the universe. When we talk about processes and discoveries, key verbs and nouns include research, systematic investigation, development, bringing something new into existence, and innovations, new methods, ideas, products. Scientists react in experiments, invent, create something new, or discover, find something existing.
Invent versus discover. Good distinction.
Important one. They also analyze, examine detail, combine, put things together, and experiment, test hypotheses. Certain key concepts define modern scientific discussion, terms like genetic engineering, manipulating genes, molecular biology, study at the molecular level, DNA, RNA, cybernetics, study of control and communication in animals and machines, and nuclear engineering, applying nuclear physics for energy or medicine. These are at the forefront.
Big, complex fields.
They are. And in the realm of computer terminology, understanding fundamental terms is absolutely essential for navigating modern life. This includes PC, personal computer, its components, parts, the base unit or hard drive where data is stored, hardware, physical parts, software programs, monitor, screen, printer, scanner, keyboard, mouse, including wireless versions.
The basics we all use daily.
Pretty much. You also need to know how to log on, organize files, download content, navigate the internet and websites, engage in gaming, stream media, send email, join chat rooms, and recognize crashed systems or virus threats, which can affect various devices, including mobile devices like laptops. For example, understanding how a computer's base unit contains its core hardware and runs various software programs is fundamental.
Even for basic computer literacy.
Absolutely. And finally, we have terms for the people involved. Technophobes, fear or dislike technology. And technophiles, enthusiasts, often informally called techies.
Are you a technophile or a technophobe?
Probably somewhere in the middle, leaning towards phile. This specialized vocabulary allows you to discuss the intricacies of modern life and future advancements with confidence.
Okay, last domain. Business and industry. For anyone involved in commerce or just wanting to understand economic news and forces, this vocabulary is indispensable. It helps decode financial headlines, understand global markets, grasp daily economics.
That's absolutely right. The core question here is, how do we talk about economic health, the flow of money, the systems driving production and consumption? This domain has a very specific set of terms crucial for comprehension. You should be familiar with core financial terms: profit and loss, credit and debit, borrowing and lending, interest rates, cost of borrowing, income tax on earnings, VAT, value-added tax on goods services, your salary, fixed payment, a deficit, spending exceeds income, and GNP, gross national product, total value produced by a country's residents' businesses, a broad measure of economic activity.
GNP, hear that a lot in news.
You do. We also use specific terms to describe economic states: a recession, downturn; a boom, rapid growth; inflation, rising prices; unemployment, without a job but seeking one. Critical indicators distinguishing between industry types is also key. Primary industry, raw materials, mining, farming. Secondary industries, manufacturing, making cars.
Yeah.
Service industries, services, healthcare, finance. Nationalized industries, state-owned. A key industry essential to the economy.
Different sectors of the economy.
Exactly. Regarding roles within companies, employees, workers versus management bosses, unskilled laborers, little training needed, white-collar workers, office versus blue-collar workers, manual labor.
Those color terms are a bit dated, but still used.
They are, yeah, shorthand. Finally, several concepts: supply and demand, fundamental principle; automation, using machines; taxation, imposing taxes; monopoly, exclusive control. For instance, we might discuss how rising interest rates discourage borrowing, which can contribute to unemployment in secondary industries, even impacting the GNP.
Connecting all the dots again.
Exactly. This comprehensive vocabulary allows you to engage with economic discourse at a sophisticated level, making sense of the complex forces at play.
Okay, how do you make sure your most important points really stand out? In a conversation, a presentation, even an email, it's not enough to just state facts. Sometimes you need to add weight, make certain ideas resonate and stick. There's specific vocabulary just for that, isn't there? Ways to underline things verbally.
Absolutely. The question for you is, how do you highlight what matters most, ensuring your audience grasps the criticality of your message? There's a range of vocabulary specifically designed for the art of emphasis. You can use verbs and phrases such as putting emphasis on a particular word or idea, or saying something is accentuated, meaning made more noticeable or prominent. You might describe something as crucially important or a prominent feature of a discussion. You can also put great stress on a point to highlight its significance or identify something of crucial importance.
Like really drawing attention to it.
Exactly. For instance, a committee's emphasis on the word recycling would be very noticeable. Or a guide might accentuate the importance of remaining calm. Beyond phrases, adverbs are incredibly useful for adding specificity and intensity. Adverbs like simply, largely, primarily, mainly, exclusively, particularly, specifically, notably, mostly, purely, chiefly, and principally.
That's a lot of adverbs for emphasis.
They all have slightly different nuances. For instance, a problem might be primarily caused by one factor, or a detail is particularly noteworthy, signaling its special significance. If a solution is purely economical, it means it considers only that aspect. These words ensure your message has the desired impact, directing your listener's attention exactly where you want it. No key takeaway missed.
Got it. Now, communication is never perfect, right, like there. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, messages just don't land right. Whether it's a simple mishearing or a deeper conceptual gap, what happens when communication breaks down? And more importantly, how do we fix misunderstandings or even better prevent them in the first place?
This area is about identifying and resolving communication breakdowns, a vital skill for effective interaction. We have specific vocabulary to describe states of confusion. Terms like being confused or experiencing confusion. An informal term is a mix-up, indicating a mistake or muddle. Something obscure is difficult to understand. A misapprehension means a mistaken belief or idea.
Like, I was under the misapprehension that.
Exactly. He was under the misapprehension that socialism and communism were the same thing. A mistaken idea. You might have assumed something incorrectly or realized you were mistaken. An impression is a general idea or feeling, which can sometimes be wrong and lead to misinterpretation. For example, if you were completely confused by an explanation or realized you were under a misapprehension about a policy, these words accurately describe it.
Allows you to articulate the problem.
Right, and the importance of clarification cannot be overstated. If you're confused, it's vital to ask for clarification immediately, rather than making a mistaken assumption that could lead to bigger problems down the line.
Better to ask than to guess wrong.
Always. Actively seeking to understand prevents minor communication issues from escalating into significant errors or disagreements. Saves time, ensures everyone's on the same page.
Okay, final area. High-stakes conversations. Like job interviews, academic presentations, crucial business pitches. These require not just knowing the answers, but how to deliver them confidently and articulately. Demonstrating composure, thoughtful engagement, a polished style. What are some phrases that can help you shine, help you navigate that pressure with grace?
What's fascinating here is that using these expressions doesn't just buy you time or cover up uncertainty. It actually demonstrates thoughtfulness, professionalism, and a genuine desire for clarity. They are tools for control and connection.
So, not signs of weakness, but signs of engagement.
Precisely. If you didn't quite hear or understand a question, it's perfectly acceptable to ask for clarification. You can use polite phrases like, "I'm sorry," or "Could you repeat the question? What was that?" Is slightly more informal, maybe okay, depending on context. "I'm afraid I didn't catch that," or "Would you mind repeating that?" These show you're engaged and want to provide a precise answer. Much better than guessing.
Buys you a second to process, too.
It does, and it's also perfectly acceptable, often advisable, to pause and collect your thoughts before responding, especially to a complex question. You can use phrases like, "May I think about that for a moment?" or, let me think about that for a moment, let me see." Or, how can I say this? Or acknowledging the question. That's an interesting question. These help you structure a coherent response, avoid rambling, and demonstrate a measured approach.
Shows you're taking it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. If you feel you haven't been clear or want to elaborate on a point, you can explicitly clarify your own meaning. Use phrases like, "in other words," or, "what I mean is," perhaps I should make that clearer by saying, "what I'm trying to say is," or "to put it another way," or even just, so basically, no. These ensure your message is understood precisely and help you refine your explanations in real time. Builds a stronger connection.
Tightening up your own point.
Yes. Finally, to effectively wrap up a point or segment of your answer, summarizing phrases are invaluable. You can use so, in conclusion, pufe, to summarize, in short brief, or to sum up. These help you tie your thoughts together neatly and signal that you are transitioning or concluding very
Or
professional.
bringing it to a clear end.
Exactly. These phrases are powerful tools for showing composure, intellectual engagement, and ensuring clarity. Invaluable skills in any formal or informal discussion. Hashtag outro.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into English vocabulary. Puss. We covered a lot. We've explored everything from the fundamental importance of active learning and using a good monolingual dictionary, to decoding complex words through context and internal word structure like prefixes and suffixes. We've tackled navigating those tricky, confusing words, and false friends mind the traps. Learned how to describe the world with precision in terms of changes, shapes, sizes, and locations, and even mastered the art of expressing opinions, conditions, and arguments, all the way to refining your communication for high-stakes situations like interviews, ensuring you speak with confidence and clarity.
Remember, this journey of language acquisition is a continuous and incredibly rewarding one. It never really stops. Every new word you acquire, every nuance you understand, opens up new possibilities for thought and expression. It enriches your inner world and your ability to connect with others. Your dedication to learning is an incredible asset, and every step you take brings you closer to your goals. So keep going. Keep recording, reviewing, and applying what you learn. Curiosity is your greatest guide, pushing you to explore and integrate new knowledge organically.
We truly hope this deep dive has given you some valuable tools, maybe ignited some new strategies, and rekindled your enthusiasm for English. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep believing in your ability to master this incredible language. It's possible. Your voice, with its unique perspective and growing vocabulary, is a valuable addition to the global conversation.
There's always more to learn, always, and multiple perspectives always enrich understanding. As you continue your journey, challenge yourself to always question assumptions and consider different viewpoints. Apply that critical thinking. This is the essence of true knowledge and how you truly make the language your own.
So what does this all mean for you, our dedicated listener? It means you have the power to shape your own narrative, to express your unique ideas with unparalleled clarity, and to connect with the world more deeply, one thoughtfully chosen word at a time. Go out there and make those words count. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please consider liking this episode, sharing it with other learners who might benefit, and subscribing to our channel for more insights. Your support helps us bring these deep dives to more curious minds like yours. Thank you for joining us.